Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is a little insight into how Nicola Sturgeon worked her party with some old information that's just recently been disclosed by some newspapers today. So before I start, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member. You can also subscribe, which is free, or you can just tick the wee thumbs up button down at the bottom of the video. That would help massively to help put the video in front of more viewers. So this story was followed up by a few newspapers today, and the headline in this one in the Express is "Raging Nicola Sturgeon threatened to confiscate phones in a furious rant about SNP leaks." The former First Minister is said to have warned that phones will have to be handed in, emails checked, as she fumed about leaks from the party relating to SNP finances. Imagine that. Nicola Sturgeon threatened to confiscate mobile phones from her SNP minions as she raged about leaks at a meeting where the party's finances were discussed. The Scottish Mail on Sunday also revealed the First Minister demanded access to email accounts amid concerns that members of the SNP National Executive Committee were breaking their strict code of secrecy and leaking information to the media. Documents seen by the newspaper state that the phones will have to be handed in and emails checked. It came as a former Treasurer, Colin Beattie, was facing questions about where £600,000 for a second independence referendum had gone. Imagine that, eh? A meeting minute from June the 1st, 2019, attributed to Ms Sturgeon, reads, "Cannot find words strong enough to deprecate leaking about party members. Most of the time people know who is responsible because of reasons for leaking. If there's an inquiry, phones will be handed in and emails checked, etc." At the same NEC meeting, a finance report to members suggested that because information was being handed to journalists, SNP top brass felt it was necessary to consider what financial information could be safely discussed at their NEC. That's a bit mental. That's like the gaffers of the party, and they were actually considering not sharing financial information with them. And as you'll see later on in the story, there was some of them getting no answers to their questions already, and that's what probably led to the leaks, because people were a bit concerned on where it was going and thought if it gets out publicly, it'll put pressure on them to open up. So it looks as if even the National Executive Committee was shrouded in secrecy. Not all members of that were given information. It's an absolute shambles. Her warning to members was 2 years before she was captured on video, furiously insisting the SNP finances had never been stronger. She told the NEC in March 21, "There is no reasons for people to be concerned about parties' finances, and all of us need to be careful about not suggesting that there is." That was the one that probably most of you have seen, which was a Zoom call meeting, and she was absolutely livid. Absolutely livid. And she's then, now this is the thing, she now will claim that she didn't really deal with the party finances because that wasn't her thing. But there she is in a meeting of the National Executive Committee telling them there is no reason for people to be concerned about the party's finances. Now that's a lie, 100% lie, for two reasons. One, they were a shambles, so if she's seen them, she's talking nonsense. Or two, she couldn't have seen them. There's not a single person could have said the party finances are fine if they'd seen them. So if she hadn't seen them, she also couldn't say that they're fine. So if you've seen them, you're telling lies. If you've not seen them, you're telling lies, right? There is no bit of this can be truthful. You're a crank. The latest revelations come as Police Scotland confirm Ms Sturgeon and Mr Beattie are still suspects in the Operation Branch Forum. The probe into alleged SNP fraud. Both were arrested and questioned in 2023 before being released without charge. Minutes from the June the 1st NEC meeting show Midlothian MSP Mr Beattie presented a financial report. With the log reading, Colin Beattie mentioned leaking that this must not happen again. He is happy to individually discuss any issues with NEC members. It then states, in response to questions from Norman MacLeod, yes, funds belong to the party and are ring-fenced for spending. It is sitting in the party books but not specifically broken down. So back then, this lad Norman MacLeod, he was obviously asking questions at meetings about where these yes funds had went to. You know, the £600,000. And they were saying that they're in the party books, but not specifically broken down. These were showing minuses some years, so where are they? Anyway, and any other comments business part of the meeting, Ms Sturgeon made it clear leakers would not be tolerated. Ooh. The following day, Mr Beattie snubbed a request to discuss finances with one of the NEC members sought advice, according to emails handed to the newspaper. Now, this is the same Mr Beattie that at the meeting the day before said he'll happy to discuss any finances privately with any NEC members. And a day later, somebody's obviously sent him an email and get hee-haw information. The member wrote, I had some questions at yesterday's NEC that for some reason it was stated only you could answer. I'm surprised that the financial operation of the party relies solely on you. There's another bit of weirdness. Somebody else has been charged with irregularities with SNP finances, but at this meeting it was declared that Mr Beattie was solely responsible. He was arrested last year, released without charge, still under investigation and has not been re-arrested and charged yet. I had asked how much of the current Yes fundraiser had been raised. Nobody at the meeting was able to answer that. They couldn't tell. I had asked what the final balance of the ScotRef fundraiser was in 2017 and where exactly this money was. This is 2 years before the date of the email. Was it included, combined with the current fundraisers, or was it sitting in a standalone earmarked reserve? An SNP spokesman said, it is entirely normal for the SNP to seek to protect confidentiality of internal matters, and while the process of what a leak inquiry might entail was discussed, at no point were threats made. Here endeth the article. This stuff's just bonkers, right? And I don't think we've seen it all yet. I believe stuff like this more and more will start coming out as time goes on. But it gives you a sort of indication how Nicola Sturgeon and the hierarchy of the SNP actually ran their party. It seems as long ago as this guy was claiming in 2017, he was asking some questions about funds and was getting totally ignored. You know, asking like sensible questions. How much have we raised? Where is it? Right? These aren't questions that you should be responded with threats. That, you know, and if you leak stuff and, you know, we might need to pull your phones off you and we might need to check your emails and all that stuff. Absolutely frightening the way this party operates. And then when you factor in that they've actually had control of the Scottish government for 17 years, makes you ask yourself, that's how they treat their own party members, and not just their normal party members, National Executive Committee members nonetheless. And they treat them like this. They threaten them with taking the phones off them. They tell them they shouldn't worry. They tell them that they'll no tolerate leaks. They tell them that they'll take their emails off them. They tell them that they'll get no reason to anybody to question the party finances, when quite evidently, that was in 2021, people had been asking questions from at least 2017 about party finances, as we can see with this article here. So people have been asking questions for at least 4 years. And Nicola Sturgeon's on video telling people party finances are fine. Nobody's got anything to worry about. Nobody has to tell or question these things publicly. And that's quite a bad thing to do. That's how they're treating people in their National Executive Committee. How do they treat non-executive committee members? And how do they treat the Scottish public that are not even fans of theirs, never mind members of their party? These people are absolutely shocking. There's better run bowling clubs. There's better run kids football clubs than this party. Yet for 17 years, they've been charged with looking after Scotland. Is it any wonder? It's an absolute shambles. So, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell. And unless your SNP, the NEC, or any other cult remaining. Everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.